What is going on, guys? Dual X Man here, back with another video, and as you guys know by the title, we are going to be doing a Bucky, aka Winter Soldier beginner guide. And without further ado, let's get right into the guide. So guys, for Bucky, he is a 3-star difficulty character, so he's a pretty, solid to mid average. Not easy, but not hard difficulty character. And to start out with how you want to play this character, he's sort of a hybrid of a pick and a dive DPS in this game. How I usually play him personally is I like to usually be on point behind my tanks, whether that be a Groot, a Magneto, a Doctor Strange, anybody like that. Just getting shots off with Bucky right now in Season 1 or 1.5 before Season 2 comes out, he is one of the best, if not the best hero in the game currently. He's extremely broken. So pretty much any damage you do with this character with his pistol is going to be insane amount of damage. And then obviously I'll show you guys later, using his hook is really good in his combos as well. And he's a counter to almost any single character in this game right now. And he barely has any counters against him. So I would mainly just sit behind the tanks, and from there try to pick off damage, trying to hook people in, and that's how I play this hero. But if you do have, let's say, lesser, like let's say it's a 6v3 or something like that, and you're putting a lot of pressure on, you can dive with this character. With his dash, he can escape. It's just a little bit more limited than some other characters, and you can obviously pick if you want to, because if you have good aim, you can definitely pick some guys off with Bucky's pistol. So without further ado, let's get into his moveset. So first we have his rotor stern pistol, which is pretty simple. Just obviously takes a couple shots to take out these guys. Really does a lot of damage for a pistol. Very good. Um, One of the things I will tell you guys about this is not a hit scam projectile, so you are gonna have to aim a little bit ahead. Not by much. Obviously this is more the further you are away, but it does drop off a touch. So you are going to have to make sure you're aiming a little bit ahead of your enemy, but that is the best way I could explain his pistol. Now, when we move on to his bionic hook, this is going to be probably his most important thing in his toolkit. Is basically you hold this up, boom, hook him in, and that's how you use bionic hook. It is a very, very, very crucial piece to his combos, and we will further explain why bionic hook is so important, but that will be bionic hook. Now, for his pistol, it'll just be left click on mouse and keyboard, and then it should just be R2 and RT on Xbox and PlayStation. Then his hook should just be L2 and LT on PlayStation and Xbox, and then it should just be right click on PC. And an important note, guys, for a ceaseless charge, which is going to be Bucky's passive, is how this ability works is when you are not at full ammo capacity, when you use bionic hook, you actually reload automatically, and it gives you some bonus health. So if you see here, so shoot one more bullet. So I'm at 1 out of 3 shots remaining in my chamber. If I use bionic hook, I fucking miss. We won't talk about that. But I actually, if you guys can see in the bottom left, I actually reloaded while that was going on. And obviously, I'm not going to lose health in practice mode, but you guys would also grant some bonus health from that. So we have Tainted Voltage, which is going to be E on mouse and keyboard, and then it will be right bumper and R1 when you are on PlayStation and Xbox, and it is just this nice little voltage that shoots right at him. Does some decent damage. You got a guy really low, or you also can put it in some combos if you would like as well. But just does a little bit of damage. Pretty good at the end of combos if you need to finish someone off. And then we have Trooper's Fist, which is his dash. Also uppercuts people in the air. It'll be left shift on PC, and then it will be left bumper and L1 on Xbox and PlayStation. Now, guys, we have his ultimate ability, Kraken Impact. Now, this is going to be obviously pretty loud when he does this. You guys, obviously, most of you have seen this ultimate. It is probably the best ultimate in the game, to be completely honest with you. I will demonstrate how it works, and then I will explain it a little bit further in detail.
Armed and dangerous! Again! 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 Again!
So I obviously went a little bit overboard for you guys, but if you guys noticed, when you click on your ultimate and you get lifted in the air, you will notice when you hit an enemy, he will have his regular health bar, and then about a quarter of his health will be a dark red bar. Now, most of the time, when you actually get to the dark red bar, you actually end up killing an enemy. So essentially, you have to take out the enemy, but for tanks, that's not necessarily the case. But the point is about this ability is once you get yourself to the dark red bar of the enemy's health that you hit with your ult, you will get your ult back. And you can keep going endlessly until you don't, or excuse me, until you're not able to get the next enemy you've marked to a red bar or a dark red bar at the end of their health, and or you've killed all the enemies. It's one of the best ultimates in the game. It is very, 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 very good. By the way, guys, that'll be obviously Q on PC, and then it'll be click both joysticks on Xbox and PlayStation. To start off with Bucky's most common combo that you're going to be using, that every beginner should know, is how you're going to start this. So you're going to use your bionic hook to hook in any squishy or any type of, yeah, just really any type of squishy, so healer, DPS, and then low tanks, and or if you're trying to get some tanks out of position. But mainly if you're going to want to kill some squishies, this is how you're going to use this combo. So you're going to use your bionic hook, and then you're gonna shoot 2 shots after using the bionic hook. You're gonna use Trooper's Fist and then finish them off. I'll show you that here. So guys, that would be how you use the very most common combo for Bucky in this game. Now, this combo is very deadly against any squishy. It'll take out any squishy, and it is very important for you to get any type of pick on a character or anything like that. So that will be his most common combo. So guys, to start off with my first tip would be get a enemy low before you use your ultimate. I have said this for every single guide yet with Black Panther and Spider-Man. Make sure you get your target low before you start your ult. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit him once, bang, kill him. Now, I went a little overboard there, but my point is, again, with this tip, make sure you are at least getting them low. Get 1 shot and then use your ult on a squishy, because then you can at least guarantee a kill going into your ultimate. Now, my next tip for you guys is going to be, honestly, know what your team needs to counter. Bucky is one of the best characters in this game, like I mentioned before, and you can really play a dive or pick style with this character if you want to. Like I said, I usually sit behind my tanks, but the reason you need to know how they are going to be playing and how your team is going to be playing, because then you can better support your teammates. So if you're playing a dive composition, you really probably want to be pushing up with your teammates, because then you're going to be able to give more help. Bucky's can do probably in most cases the most damage and most kills and final hits on the team. Really, you can do a lot of damage. So if you are playing heroes that are dive, do not sit back and just let everyone do the work. Be up with your team. Do the correct things you need to do dependent on what type of play style your team is running. If you got a thing, if you got a thing in a Thor on your team, and then you got another, let's say, Spider-Man, go up with them. Go try to help them with kills. Don't sit back. If you got pick heroes that you're playing with, like Hela and Hawkeye, and then there's a Magneto or a Strange on your team where you need to sit on point more, then do that. And then maybe try to go for a little dive pick here and there. But overall, just know your personnel with your team comp and match yourself to that. Now, the last thing I will say for Bucky, though, guys, I think it is important to get picks on any singular squishy, but some of the best Buckies in the world, what they like to do is they really do like to get tanks out of position. So let's say you are sitting back on point and you are playing the objective, okay? Let's say there is a Thing and a Venom and a Thor. Let's say any of those type of dive tanks, okay? Those dive tanks, really, if they're coming up to push on your team and they are really running a dive comp against your team, you really need to be trying to take out those tanks. Bucky does a ton of damage, and the hitboxes on tanks we obviously know are large. If you are decent at aiming, you can hit a lot of headshots on those tanks and really push them out. And then especially if they are diving and you have a full team and they're not diving with any support, use that hook and hook one of those dive tanks in. Get those tanks out. If there are tanks out of position, hook them in and try to take them out. Because at the end of the day, you could do a lot of damage. And I've said Bucky he only has 275 health, but if you have support, now I'm not saying as Bucky, do not go by yourself taking on a tank. Don't do that. That'll just guarantee you probably a death unless you're absolutely cracked. But if you do have a little bit of support and you see a tank diving without really any support, hook that dude in and take him out. Same thing goes if you are going if it is a full 6v6, full team comp, everything's going great. Both teams are going at each other one on one, and you as a Bucky are staying with your tanks, and if there is a Magneto on the other team, hook him in. Hook him in. Same thing with a dive tank. If a dive tank is kind of sitting waiting for his abilities and his cooldowns to cool off, hook him in. Bring him in with your team. Tanks are very easy to hook and they're very easy to kill, especially once you start to get the aim down with Bucky. You need to get those hooked in and out of position. And I want to repeat this. Do not take on tanks by yourself. You are still a DPS, right? And Bucky has only 25 more health than Spidey. He has 25 less than Black Panther. But this is one of the craziest heroes in the game. You can do some crazy damage. And if you just have even one other teammate and you can pull a tank out of position, take out that tank. Because that'll give so much of an advantage to your team if they even have one less tank and you have two, or if they have no tanks left. So that'll be it for this one, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those post notifications so you guys can get notified every time I upload, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.